A reminder, click subscribe and then notifications so you never miss one of these great car reviews. It takes me days to shoot, write, edit, and research them. Dang, I want people to see them. When you have kids, one thing you quickly learn is that parenting is more sharenting. In other words, children are heavily influenced by their circle of friends. So you'll want to surround your clan with a lot of good examples. The new Hyundai Palisade can help with that. It seats up to 8, and it's stylish enough to attract an upscale crowd, though it's up to you to make sure they're good influences. You're a hardworking family person, and I'll wager pretty darn smart, so of course you'll be cross-shopping. There are so many in this category. A few would be Atlas, Explorer, Traverse, Enclave, Pathfinder, Pilot, Highlander, and of course, the Kia Telluride, which is kind of the it car in the 3-row crossover segment these days. Telluride and Palisade share the same architecture, drivetrain, and mission of hauling a lot of people and or stuff, but park them next to each other, and there's really no resemblance. The Kia looks like it goes camping and hiking every weekend. Palisade would rather book a spa resort. While the C-pillar defines the profile, there are other subtle touches that support the premium look. Hyundai's Trojan helmet grille may not be my favorite shape, but its strong visual is appropriate here. A system that's kind of handy when parked on city streets. A radar detects oncoming traffic and warns the driver to be careful when opening the door. And the electronic child safety locks and back won't release until traffic passes. All models tote the family around with a 291 horsepower 3.8-liter V6 with a choice of front or all-wheel drive. There's 262 pound-feet of torque happening too, plus a crisp exhaust note. Cog swaps are handled with an 8-speed automatic. Push buttons are an improvement over some of the vague electric joystick selectors I've used. Manual shifts are easy to do. Drive modes help Palisade tackle whatever Mother Nature throws at it. You'll change them just to watch the gauge cluster swap graphics. At least I did. Maybe I'm easily amused. Oh, and the all-wheel drive system can be locked. Is Palisade a rocket ship? No, but it is as fast as it needs to be. 0 to 60, I would say it happens in about 7.5 seconds, about average in class, so you won't be pinning the kids up against the seats. If you have to haul the kids and their companions halfway across the state for hockey games or ultimate, this is a fine tool to do it in. One thing I found with the Kia Telluride, its suspension a little bit on the firm side. Hyundai went with more of a plush ride. That means there's going to be more body movement when you throw it into a corner, but not enough to make the kids' car sick. Palisade is a large vehicle, but it doesn't feel that way from behind the wheel. Your wallet will feel the size, though. 3-row crossovers aren't stingy on fuel unless you're going with a Volvo XC90 plug-in hybrid, and that's nearly twice the price of Palisade. At least regular grade gas is specified. I averaged 19 miles per gallon. As expected, there is a fuel-saving automatic engine start-stop system. This one is just fine. It's not going to call an awful lot of attention to itself. And if it drives you crazy, you can turn it off. Transmission shifts. They're smooth. They always happen when they should, so that's not an issue. This is a comfortable vehicle. It's a quiet vehicle. It's also a big vehicle, but doesn't handle like a supertanker. I'll point out that on long uphill grades, there's some extra shifting that happens, but I was concentrating pretty hard on it. Check it on your test drive. There's a lot of great safety tech in the Palisade, including automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot warning, and adaptive cruise control. There's also this system. When I signal right, I get the right blind spot in the cluster, sort of like Honda Lane Watch. The difference being that when I signal left, I also get that view. I actually find this helpful, whereas Lane Watch I find distracting, maybe because the Honda system is here and Hyundai puts it in the gauge cluster. Worth pointing out, the semi-autonomous driving tech dubbed Highway Assist, that's standard on this Limited and optional on SEL, does a nice job of confidently centering Palisade in the lane, even on gentle curves. Nice stuff. Palisade has something called quiet mode. Now, Rob Calero in back here, he's asleep. Apparently, my yammering on and on is boring him. Now, enabling quiet mode means the stereo only plays up front, allowing Rob to slumber and dream about his new Karmann Ghia. Rob also enjoyed the upscale cabin appointments, and who wouldn't? It's bordering on Genesis territory. And let's not forget, Hyundai's upmarket brand still doesn't have an SUV in the lineup. I'm not all that keen on the sparkly trim, and it can be hard to read these. But overall, materials are among the best in class, including the ambient lighting and the Limited soft Nappa leather. I'll point out that the quilting is even found in row 3. Some automakers would skimp on that. The front and mid-row seats are heated and vented. Pretty sure all drivers can find a comfortable position here. Here's some interesting safety tech. If you get in the morning, you haven't had your coffee, start the car up and decide, let's go, kids. You're not gonna go because the parking brake doesn't release until you put your seatbelt on. Safety first. Overall, there are 16 cup holders and 7 USB ports to equip the crew. Wireless charging, too. Put anything here and it slides around while driving. Choose between extra storage and cup holders, though with the lid open, it gives the console a busier look. Spendier models get this larger 10.25-inch touchscreen with a solid interface. Response is good, and the flow is laid out well. Hyundai does a good job of equipping its vehicles with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and that's true here. Big vehicles like Palisade benefit quite a bit from surround view camera systems, so do all the other cars around it, if you catch my drift. Moving to row number 2, the Limited is a 7-seat machine. Lower models can seat up to 8. There's the expected seat travel, a test to see if your kids' friends are generous enough to give some room to those in back. Unexpected is clever USB positioning and dedicated pockets for phones. Smart touch there. Nearly anything can be powered, the floor is pretty flat, and the climate zone allows for the airflow to be diffused. A big sunroof, too. Almost all crossovers have an easy way to get into the back seat. A reminder that these vehicles have higher floors than vans, so getting in and out isn't quite as easy, especially for little kids and the elderly. Yes, adults can sit back here just fine with the second row adjusted for my 5'9" frame to be comfortable. There's enough foot and leg room. There's a cavity that's hollowed out. There's just enough headroom. The seats are low like all 3-row crossovers, so thigh support isn't all that great. There are belts for 3, but wouldn't want to be the grown-up sitting in the middle. Drink holders? Check. Access to phone charging, too. The middle shoulder belt will be problematic if you drop the third row a lot. FYI, there's about a ½ inch less headroom in row number 3 than Telluride. Those sitting here have an easy way to release the second row. They won't feel trapped. Kicked open tailgates are awfully handy. Hyundai's system is a little bit different. You simply just stand next to the tailgate for 3 or 4 seconds with the proximity key in your pocket and purse, and voila! It opens automatically. I like this system better. No kicking. I'm kind of a klutz. As for cargo, 3-row rigs don't often have generous space when all the seats are up. Minivans are much better at that. 5 packs of the 2-ply is a solid amount of room in class. Small, expensive things can be stashed out of sight, always practical. This might be a tiebreaker if you can't decide between Palisade and Telluride. The Hyundai offers up a powered third row. It's especially handy for kids and smaller adults since it can be difficult for them to reach in and raise the seat backs up again. The mid-row can be triggered from the rear too, but it needs to be raised manually. A reminder that I always do this test so at least 4 people can be aboard, and the Palisade does a commendable job of hauling stuff off to Goodwill. These packs are about the size of a carry-on suitcase, and that's 17 of them, folks. The price spread on a Palisade is pretty wide. A base front drive SE model retails for $32,645 with shipping. I suggest moving to the SEL model, starting at $2,000 more to get, among other things, automatic climate control, heated front seats, and keyless ignition. This Limited only comes fully loaded at $45,795. All-wheel drive adds $1,700 to all of these prices, and there are stories of dealers tacking on second stickers. Don't be surprised to see that when shopping. The dictionary defines Palisade as a protective fence of pointy stakes or a line of bold cliffs. Neither of them sound particularly inviting, but this family SUV sure is. It's exceptionally well done, and when it comes to value, pretty hard to beat in segment. All your kids' friends will be happy to catch rides in this rig. All the better to keep close tabs on what they're up to. For the safety conscious, the IIHS anoints Palisade with a top safety pick plus rating if equipped with the LED headlamps. The quality of illumination kept Telluride from earning the same distinction. Gotta say, I have really come to enjoy ventilated seats. I used to think it's a gimmick, but on long road trips, it keeps your clothes from getting clammy. You arrive refreshed. Which leads me to this. Many people think that in top trim levels, this and Telluride compete directly with luxury SUVs like Aviator, XT6, and Q7. And I disagree. Yes, they're terrific values, but the luxury brands have the kind of materials, active suspensions, and intangible details that Hyundai and Kia don't offer. However, the Koreans offer enough bang for the buck to lure some buyers away from the premium brands. Let's not forget, one way to become wealthier is to not spend money, right? Before I go, ever notice that when Hyundai comes out with a new three-row crossover, they changed the name. The first one was Veracruz, then it became Santa Fe when the two-row version became Santa Fe Sport, then Santa Fe XL, and now Palisade. I think this name is going to be around a while. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be wildly popular. And a reminder, click subscribe. There's the button. I've made it easy for you. Just a little service I provide. Subscribe and then notifications, so you never miss any of these. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.